So today we are making a video on Perl Linux or Pearl-Mate Studio 12. So here is the boot menu. So let me quickly boot it in the live boot, and I'm running it on a virtual machine which is a VMware with 60 GB of hard disk, 8 GB of RAM, and my CPU is i5 1240p. So it's going to take like 2 or 3 minutes to load up the desktop layout. So I'm going to wait for that. And I'm going to give you a disclaimer that there will be some mistakes and misspeaking by me throughout the video because I'm going to keep the video as raw as possible, so that's the reason. So I'm going to wait a few seconds and let's see how much of time it takes to load up the desktop layout. And it says as a Perl Linux 9, but I downloaded the Perl Linux 12 ISO file, so let's see what will be the changes and all those things. So here is the Perl Linux desktop layout loaded completely. It took like 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes. So before changing the display settings, I'm going to show you the system monitor and see how much of resource it's consumed. So it looks like a Mac OS kind of thing, but let's see. So the Linux distro, it says Perl LTS. So here is the code name, and the kernel version you get 6.8, and the MATE desktop environment version is right here. So let's check the process. Change the display settings as soon as we see all the resources and all those things. So resources, CPU is almost under 15%. So we need to run like a 60 seconds or a minute, and we should be seeing a stable graph, and we can judge it on these things that the CPU is pretty much stable. And also the RAM is almost a 1.1 GB because of the MATE desktop environment. So here is the file system, and I'm going to keep it on the resources, and I'm going to put it in the right side corner. So let's first change the display settings. Go to display settings. Let's open the hardware and displays here. So it kind of looks like a Mac OS, the mouse pointer and also the loading animation and all those things. So let's click on apply. So there is a sound from the Linux distro. So you can change it by logging out the dock. The dock is almost on the top side, left side corner. So we can do that by logging out. So I'm going to, so let's check the system resource again. So the CPU is pretty much stable right now. So there is a bit of high peak here, but it will be going to stable. So let's first change the dock. In order to change the dock, we need to log out this screen. Let me log out this screen. Log out live. Let me log out. And when we log out, the dock will be installed properly. So when you change it, display it's going to change. So login, it should be Perl Linux. Password, it should be Perl, I guess. So invalid username and password. So I'm going to go to the browser and check what are the login credentials. So let me check it. So here is the login screen. The password and the user, it says as a live. Let me try it. The username should be live, LIVE. So I think we should be logged in. So let's wait for a few seconds, and we should be seeing our desktop layout. So the password is LIVE, all small letters. So the dock is down right now. So when you see the dock on the left side corner, which is on the top, you can just log out and put the password, which is live. So there is no password. You need to just type in username, which is LIVE, and it will automatically logged in. So let's open the system monitor again, and let's keep it in the right side corner. You'll be seeing all the changes. So process, let me show you again. These are all the processes. Here is the resource. going to put the system monitor in the right side corner. So let's open the internet browser. So we Box web browser. So by look, it looks pretty much pleasing. So it kind of looks smooth and well finished. So it looks like it's pretty stable. So CPU is almost let's see the CPU and see how much of resource. See all the changes throughout the video and decide whether to use this Linux distro or not. So by look, it's pretty much good to use, but let's see how much of resource it consumes throughout the video. So here is the URL or the home page, Pearl Linux. So you can find it in the SourceForge website. So these are all the information. So when we click on downloads, we should be seeing our downloads. So 2024/7/2022. So base is 24.04. I don't know what it is. Should be Ubuntu. So the code name is Skotsky. The desktop environment we are using is a MATE desktop environment. Don't worry, I'm going to show every information. So base, it says 24.04. So it should be Ubuntu, and here they mentioned as Debian, and it's also 22.04. It should be Ubuntu. So let me click on downloads of Pearl MATE Studio 12. So here is all the information. So it's based on Ubuntu 24.04 with no snaps. So every information about the Pearl MATE 12 is right in front of you. So I already mentioned the password or the username is live. As soon as you click or type in like a live in the username, it automatically logged in. So you can just use those things. So here are some of the features and all the information. You can read it right here. Here is the readme if you want. So the official website is right in front of you. So let's scroll it up. So read everything if you want here. Here are some keyboard shortcuts. Let's go to the files. And the ISO files are available. So the latest ISO file is 4 hours ago. I tried to download this ISO file, which is 4.5 GB, but my downloads were pretty much slow. It didn't let me to download with the high speeds. I don't know, there was some issues. So you can see the downloads is 0. So that's the reason I downloaded the older version, which is 3 or 4 days ago. So try to download this file. You should be getting the low speeds. I don't know, there was some issue with the SourceForge or something like that. I tried every mirror, but the downloads were pretty slow. Let me click on problem downloads. So you can see all the mirrors here. So whatever I chose here had the slow speeds. I even tried the VPNs and all those changing servers and all those things, but I didn't get the best speeds. I got almost like a 500-600 KB instead of getting 12 MB 13 MB sometimes. So my internet has good speed, but I was getting like a 200 KB or 300 KB while downloading. So that's the reason I didn't download. It's going to take like a 24 hours or some time like that. So that's the reason I didn't download the ISO file. So the internet was pretty much very slow. So that's the reason I downloaded the 3 days ago ISO file, 3 or 4 days ago ISO file. So, and as you can see, the download didn't start. So there is an issue with this file. So that's the reason. So you should be waiting for a day or maybe a few hours, and you should be getting the ISO file downloaded with a high speeds, because there should be some issue with the servers. So let me close the. So before closing the browser, let me show you the about support. Let me type in about support and hit enter. So here is some of the information like a version and all this information. It's still not loading for some reason. Usually it should load like this, but you're not seeing any text here. I don't know what's the issue. And also we are not even seeing the version here. So I don't know what is happening with this Linux distro. CPU is almost good, the memory is almost running properly, but we can't see any text here. I don't know what's wrong with this Linux distro. But here we can see some text, but there is no text here in the version or the display. So the window, all the information is missing here. So I don't know what to do. So let's at least check from here. And we still can't see the version. Let me close it. Let's try to open the terminal. So let me try to open the terminal and get some other information. So the browser had some issues. Let's make it bigger. Let's check the version of the terminal. You are getting a 1.26. So there is a system sound, so try to ignore all those things. Let me neofetch. Enter. So operating system, host is a virtual machine, and uptime is almost 14 minutes. Packages 2332. The display resolution and themes, icons, and other information is right here. Let me type in INXI. Hit enter. The CPU, kernel, storage. Here are some of the information. You can just pause the video and read everything. INXI -b. So host, it says live. Machine is a VMware, CPU, the network, drives, and some graphics information. So let me type in another command, which is INXI -F. Here you should be seeing some other information. Just pause the video and read everything, like audio, network, drives, partitions, the graphics, and other information. INXI -G. So it's taking a few seconds here, so you should be seeing all the information. Let me type in cat /etc/issue. So it says Perl 12 LTS long-term support. So I don't know how many years it's going to support. So the base is Ubuntu 24.04. So let me try to type in INXI -SV8. So by typing this command, you should be seeing all the distro information. So let's go up. So here is the system. So you should be seeing all the information completely, like a Bluetooth, vulnerabilities, repos, and all the information. So permissions, here is the vulnerabilities, the graphics, display, available resolutions. So monitor resolutions here. So you should be seeing all the audio information and graphics, Bluetooth, all the information right in front of you. So just pause the video and read everything. So this is all some important information for a normal user and a pro user or a Linux user. So let me type in htop. So everything is pretty pre-installed, so that's good work. So we don't need to download or install anything. So you should just type in some commands and you should be getting all information. So let's installation. And CPU, as you can see, there is a bit of high graph because of the installer. So it's consuming 1.3 GB of RAM. So here is the code name, which is Kodski. Let's check the about. So the Calamares installer you get is a 3.3.5. So I'm going to show the basic installation steps. So if you're already a Linux user, you don't need to watch this, you just skip this part. So the installation, you get the lot of languages. Choose your language, click on next, choose your location. Either you can choose the map or you can choose the drop down menu here. And the system language will be set to American English, United States. If you want to keep it, you can keep it, or you can customize according to your wish. The numbers and date locales will be set to American English, United States. Again, customize according to your wish. Click on next, choose your keyboard. I'm choosing my keyboard. So it automatically chooses your keyboard, but for some reason it's showing some generic something like that, but my keyboard is a Dell. So I'm choosing the Dell keyboard here. So language, choose your language for the keyboard, choose your variant. You can type here to test your keyboard. You can switch the keyboard according to your wish. Click on next. Here you need to choose your hard disk or a virtual disk, whatever you choose here. And erase disk is a option that it's going to delete the current operating system or whatever it's available in this hard disk. Either it's documents, media files, or whatever it is, it's going to erase everything in that specific hard disk, and it's going to install the Perl Linux on that specific hard disk. But when you go with the manual partitioning, you need to create a partition before choosing this option, and you should be seeing the options in the boot menu with a dual operating system. The option will be the current operating system and the other will be the Perl Linux. So you can dual boot, and you should be seeing the dual operating systems in the boot menu. So if you don't know how to install the Linux distro on the hard disk or virtual disk, you can just watch the videos in my channel or maybe in the YouTube. In my channel, the videos will be a bit lengthy, 20-25 minutes lengthy, because I will be covering everything in that. So it will be a bit boring. So it's better to watch like a 2 or 3 videos of a short videos, like a 2 minutes, 3 minutes video, and you should be good with the installation. Plus my videos are like a 3000 videos. I made like a 3000 videos of every Linux distro. It's pretty much very hard to point out in which Linux distro I installed on the hard disk or a virtual disk. So it's better to watch some other channels like a 4 or 5 videos, maybe like a 3 or 4 videos of short videos like a 2 or 3 minutes, and you should be getting an idea of how to install, because there is nothing complicated in installation. So when you click on encrypt system, you should be providing the password, which should be same in both the boxes. If you don't want the encryption, you can just uncheck it. And bootloader location, the default will be master boot record for that specific hard disk, and the other will be do not install a bootloader. So you can do that later if you are already a Linux user. So if you are new, you can just watch the tutorials and get the installation. After clicking on next, you should be getting the user creation. So it's pretty much similar in every operating system, whether it's a Linux, Mac OS or Windows, it will be same. You need to create username and all those things. So let me put in some random things. 9to5 Linux. For my, what is your name, and what name do you want to use to log in? You can't provide the numbers first, you need to provide the alphabets, and you can use the numbers later. For example, let me show you. So when you choose the numericals, it doesn't let you do that. When you put the alphabets, you can do the numbers later. So first should be alphabets, and then you can provide the numbers if you want. I'm choosing run boxing. What is the name of this computer? I'm going to keep it like a 9to5 Linux. And for the password, you need to provide the best password or the strong password, whatever you want. So I'm going to choose the random password like a 126. And let me type in same. So the password fails the dictionary check because it's too simple. So I'm choosing the 126 password. So that's the reason it says as it is easy. So you need to provide the strong password. If everything is going good, you should be seeing a tick mark here. So it says it's too simplistic and it doesn't allow me. So after clicking on next, you should be seeing a summary of whatever you chose in the previous installation steps. So if you are not familiar, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just watch my other video which I already posted today. So you should be seeing there what will be in a summary. And the installation, it will be taking like 20 to 25 minutes. After clicking on install, it's going to take like 20-25 minutes, depends on your PC and depends on the ISO file. So if you have like a high-end PC, it will be very quick. If you have like a low-end PC, again it's going to take a bit of time there. So if the ISO file is stable, it should be very quick and it should be installed properly without any errors. But if the ISO file is like a development ISO file or the beta version ISO file, you should be seeing some installation failed pop-ups. It's a bit of rare, but you should be seeing this type of installation. It's better to wait for the stable version or go with the previous version which is stable. So that was the installation, because I don't want to install this Linux distro on my virtual disk or a hard disk, because I need to make another video. So let's check what applications we get pre-installed. So under the accessories, you get all these updates: graphics, internet, office, sound and video, system tools. So you get a bit of bloatware applications here. So there are not a bunch of applications, there are a bit of applications which are added from the Perl Linux. So others are from the MATE desktop environment, so you can understand how much of applications you get here. So you don't get bunch of applications, you just get a base of basic applications. Other than that, there is nothing more in the applications. So it mostly looks like a Mac OS, but there are some changes. It completely doesn't look Mac OS, but the dock and the file browser icon and the installer kind of looks like a Mac OS, but it's clearly up to you to decide whether to use this Linux distro or not. You can update the city and all those things, so it's a weather thing. So here you can see under the panel you get a MATE desktop environment, and a bit of customized things are added, like a weather, accessibilities, and the internet connection. Here is the weather, and here is the power settings, volume, date and time, and the about this computer and all those things. So here is some system information, which I already showed everything, so there is nothing to show here. So already typed in commands to get all the information, so already showed everything. So let me close this thing. So what else we left here? We have the dock here. So it kind of looks like a pretty much stable while using the Linux distro. So I didn't see any bugs or any crashes, but the CPU is pretty much unstable. You can guess it because you saw all the changes throughout the video. The graph of the CPU wasn't stable. It's going up to 60-70% and it's going down. I don't know what's the issue, but right now it's showing like a 1%, 2% and 10%. It's not pretty much stable. So sometimes it goes up to 60% and sometimes it goes down. So the RAM is pretty much stable, so I don't have any issues. The MATE desktop environment, when running on the virtual machine, it will consume this much of RAM, but when you install it on the bare metal, it will be like a 300 MB or 250, 400 MB will be the change when you install it on the bare metal. So that will be the difference. That there will be no major difference in the RAM, and there you don't see the major difference when you install it on the bare metal. So let's get back to the control center. So these are all the things you see in the control center here. So again, it's a MATE desktop environment, so I don't think there is nothing from the Perl media or the Perl MATE desktop environment or the Perl Linux distro which is added here. So there is nothing added from the Perl Linux. These are all same from the MATE desktop environment. So let me open some bunch of applications and see whether we get any crashes or anything like that. So you get all the content creating applications pre-installed. So for a content creator, this Linux distro will be good. But you can do that by downloading the Linux Mint MATE desktop environment or the MATE desktop environment based Linux distros, and you can install this type of applications, and you can customize according to your wish. You already know the docs and all those third software, so you can do that. So without doing anything, you want the pre-installed applications like that, then you can go with this Linux distro. So it's clearly up to you whether to use it or not. Going to but it consumes a bit of resources. To see whether we get any like pop-ups like not responding or any crashes or anything like that. So let me open some applications here. That's a bit of open like I'm having 8 GB of RAM and my CPU is i5 1240p, which are the latest hardware. So if you have like a low-end PC, I don't know how it performs on this on those CPU. So right now application still running in the back. GIMP open right now. So let's try to see let's try to open some other applications. So universal access, we don't have anything here. So let me open the VL. So we opened pretty much like 6 applications which consumes a bit of resource. Let's go to the system monitor and see how is our resources running. So So the process, these are all the processes running right now. So there is a bit of hiccups when moving the mouse up and down. So as you can see, so there is a bit of lag. So you can ignore that because there are some applications opening in the background. So that's the reason we need to ignore that. And CPU went totally high because of the applications opening instantly at once. So that's the reason we are opening all the applications at a single time. So that's the reason it's consuming that much of time. So when we open one by one, it's going to take a bit of less stress, but we opened all the applications at one time. So that's the reason this much of resources. So right now it's almost 2.2 GB. Let's see. So the applications were opened or not. So all the applications are opened right now. So let's try to switch the applications to see whether we see any crashes or any lag. So till now I didn't see any crash or anything, and I can switch the application easily without any issues. So you need to understand that I am using 8 GB of RAM, so there is a lot of RAM also. So when you have like a 2 GB of RAM, I don't think it's going to so basically 2 GB of RAM, it will be like a 1.8 GB. So right now it's consuming like a 2.1 GB. So there will be, when you install this on a bare metal with a 2 GB of RAM, I think it will be working properly. But when you run it on the live boot, or when the virtual machine can't be run, because virtual machine take a lot of resources, and plus you should be booting on live boot, so it also takes a lot of RAM. So you can't run it on the virtual machine with 2 GB of RAM. But you can run it on the live boot by providing the ISO file, and you can do the live boot without a virtual machine. But when you install it, it's going to be working properly. When you ask whether to use the MATE desktop environment of other Linux distro or this Linux distro, you can download the Linux Mint MATE desktop environment. But the basic system requirements is like you need to have a minimum of a 2 GB of RAM for the Linux Mint. So the latest Linux Mint version was 22 Wilma. So I already made a videos on that also. You can watch it in my channel. The 3 desktop environment videos are already available. So it was consuming a less resource. So it's clearly up to you to go with the Linux Mint or with this Linux distro. So you already know the Linux Mint is pretty much famous already. So you can go with whatever desktop environment or whatever Linux distro you want. So you get the pre-installed applications in here, the macOS style dock and all those things. You don't get any major things, you just get a dock and some icons and all those things from look like macOS. So you can do that on your own with Linux Mint installed. So it's clearly up to you to whether to use it or not. If you ask me, I'm going to say it's better to go with the Linux Mint because it's supported until 2029. So it's clearly up to you. So I don't know it is, so the Pearl-MATE desktop environment says it's based on Ubuntu 24.04. I don't know how much for time it takes to, or the is it the LTS? So it said LTS in the beginning, so it should be supported to 4 or 5 years. So it's clearly up to you to judge whether to use this Linux distro or not. So these are my point of view, and these are my final thoughts. So it's clearly up to you to decide whether to use it or not. So we don't see any lag or any crashes, but we are seeing a CPU resource a bit high. So that's an issue. I didn't see any issue in the Linux Mint in the CPU and in the RAM. So it's also consuming a bit of high RAM here. So you can decide on your own. So let's check the application information and end the video here. So GIMP, you get this version. Let me close it. So Audacious, here is some information. You can close if you want. Let's check the LibreOffice version. You should be getting the 24 version. Let me close the LibreOffice. So here is the browser. I already showed the browser version. So Inkscape, you should be getting the older version instead of 1.3.2, I guess. So Audacity version is 3.4.2. Let me close the Audacity. So let's check the version of the Inkscape. So the latest version should be 1.3.2. Right now you are seeing the 1.2.2. So you get the old version of Inkscape. Let's close it. So Audacity version we already saw. So So here is some VLC media player. Welcome to order. Let me cancel. See, here you are seeing a VLC media player. Let me check the version of the VLC media player. So the version is right in front of you. Let me close it. And about the OBS Studios, you get this version. And here is our file manager. Let's check the version. So you get this Agile 1.26p. You can view, you can do whatever you want. You change the icon view to compact view, list view. You can change the preference and all those things. So it's clearly a MATE desktop environment. It's clearly customizable. So at the end of the video, these are all the resources and these are all the processes running throughout the video. So it's kind of looks like stable, but it's consuming a bit of CPU here. The CPU wasn't stable throughout the video, but it was working pretty much good. And also you need to consider that I have the latest CPU and good RAM, so it was good in my PC, but it should be different for you. So you need to try it on your own and let me know in the comment section how it was. And I'm going to end the video. So I already posted 2 videos. If you want to check that out, you can check my channel. So if you want to consider subscribing, you can do that also. So let me shut it down. Thanks for watching. Peace out.